Our Western world is facing an upcoming food crisis. And no, I am not talking about the price of eggs over here, even though that's a part of it. But it's just a small fracture of it. I'm talking about a lot more important and serious matter. I'm talking about systematical issues that we have in our food growing culture, or whatever you call it. We are so relied on supermarkets, and we have grown several generations now that are, in Finnish we say, handless. And that means that cannot do anything. We don't know how to grow our own food. We don't know how to build stuff. None of it. We have no skills for that. We have been raised in cities to work in jobs, meaningless, no value BS jobs. And we don't have the skills that it takes to actually grow food, even though all the information is out there and anybody can do it if they take the time to learn it. But the thing is, some people are, but most people do not care for such things. They are not taking their time to learn how to produce food, how to grow stuff in their gardens. Most people have no interest in such things. And that makes me very scared of the future. When that light goes out, when there's even just a tiny crisis, something, a little bump in the road, we are screwed. Where are you gonna get your food? And if you live in a city, in a huge metropolitan area, you don't want to live there when the crap hits the fan. You don't want to be there when the riots begin. And if you think now that, I'll just figure it out when it happens. We saw it with COVID, which was just a minor thing, really, compared to what's to come. People do not know how to act and behave in situations like these. In these types of crises, things go crazy. And if you are stuck in a city, you don't have a plan B, you don't have your own food resources, you are screwed. A human can go a few days living without drinking. Few days. If you just rely on your tap water or bottled water, you're screwed. You have to figure out a resource of natural water that you can use during a crisis. A spring or something like that. You need to figure it out if you want to survive. A human can go a few weeks without food. Just a few weeks. Some people might go a little bit longer, but it's not going to be fun. So even if you have some sort of storage for like fast crises, like some sort of situation where you have to stay inside for a few days, it's not going to rescue you. It's not going to save you when the real crisis begins. You need to have a backup plan. Plan B. You cannot be relied on grocery stores and the food that is produced for you. You need to have the basic skills and the information, knowledge to produce or harvest or forage food. Including fishing and hunting as well. If you do not have any of these skills and you live in a big city, I'm sorry, but hard times are ahead of you. You won't find news about this subject in mainstream media because it's all done for purpose. They do not want to have independent people. They need to have people in a leash. And when people have been stripped of all the skills, including the food producing skills, foraging skills, and all of that, it means that people are on a tight leash and they are easily controllable. If people had their own gardens and they would produce, let's say, at least 50% of their own food in their own garden, and on top of that, they knew how to fish and hunt, the thing would be a totally different thing. There would be much more pushback from this sort of a crowd or population when something is introduced to our world that we do not like. But because we don't have the resources and the knowledge to be independent when it comes to food producing, we are so easily manageable. And that is a very dangerous situation from individuals' point of view. And I know this might sound very conspirational or whatever, you know. How can anybody actually argue with me and say that this thing that we are totally just without skills, without the knowledge, most of us, and we are just doing these jobs that add no value, living in cities? How can anybody argue that this is a good thing, that we are just relied on our supermarkets? How can anybody say that that's a good thing? I doubt that you can make a valid argument for it. There is so many health benefits to living in a more natural environment, learning how to grow your own food. A lot of people in the Western world do have an access to a garden. Either they own one in their backyard, or you know, or they can rent one, or whatever is the system in wherever you live. I'm sure that most people in the Western world, or at least a lot of people, do have a solution that they could work on, but they are too blind to actually do that. Most people just use their gardens to basically grow lawn, which is just the most stupid thing ever. It does not help you at all that you just know about this thing, that you think, oh, like this might happen. You need to start acting now. You need to start learning how to produce your own food now, today, because if the crisis happens, and when it happens, it might be a year from now, it might be 5 years from now, 10 years. The thing is, if you think that, oh, when it happens, then I'll start to figure it out, it's way too late. Because if you plant strawberry plants, it takes 2 to 3 years for them to actually start producing food for you so that you get a good yield. Same with apple trees. It takes at least 5 years to them to start actually producing you anything to eat. So you need to start planting the trees and the bushes and all of that today, next spring, immediately start planning it. And if you don't have a garden, if you don't have those resources, start planning out a way to be able to do that. Start now planning a system, some sort of a way to make it, to get yourself an own garden, something that you can use to produce food for yourself and your family, your friends, relatives. It will make you very popular. People will like you. You will grow your own organic food. Start fishing. Anybody can do that. Start practicing the skills. If you can hunt, learn how to hunt. Whatever is the thing that interests you the most. There's many ways you can forage food, berries, mushrooms. Learn to recognize the species. Learn how to cook. So many ways you can help your situation. And of course, you know, some countries in Europe and in North America are more independent on their own food production, and some countries are less independent. For example, in Finland, well, they say, you know, the government says that Finland is doing very good. They are very independent on food producing. I think Finland produces maybe 80% of their own food, and that might sound very good. But actually, that number should be at least 110. Our country is basically just an island. So if the ships stop bringing new food over here, you're screwed. Because that would mean basically that 20% of people, our population, would get shortages in food immediately. And these shortages would be visible from day 2, basically. So you need to think about these things for yourself. You cannot rely on what government says to you. Of course, they're gonna say that everything is fine until it's not. Of course, they'll do that. And we don't even need to go into detail about the benefits of actually growing your own food or eating natural fish instead of lab-grown, basically, fish and vegetables and stuff like that. We don't even need to do that. It's a no-brainer. When you grow your own food, it's local, it's fresh, it's totally organic. It's much more nutritionally dense. There are so many health benefits to that. And on top of that, it's fun. So it's a no-brainer to get into it. It all starts from the very first moment when you realize that you need to make a change. And you can do that. You can make that change today. You can start planning your new, better, more independent future. You can be more self-sufficient. You don't have to be 100% self-sufficient, but just the fact that you are watching this video and thinking about these things means that you can do it. You can really work on it. You are on the right path, and you can make a better future for yourself and your family.